how you're moving from fourth to fifth as we synchronistically move from third to fourth.
Yes.
And you said that it was a different octave of consciousness altogether. So I'm interested to know more about that, if you can explain more about that and what methods you're using to navigate through that.
Well, again, the idea of moving into fifth density, which is also the same thing as fifth dimension, means you're going from physicality to non-physicality entirely. That's what we mean by a different octave. That's a euphemism to simply underscore the idea that you're going from a state of being that has some degree of physicality to it to a state of being that does not have physicality in the way that you're used to experiencing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And does it feel like different from when you shifted from the previous density? Does it feel more intense or?
Well, it is more expansive. In other words, your senses are expanding and capable of perceiving multiple dimensional things simultaneously. So it's like you're kind of walking through a dreamscape constantly, being aware of a much larger span of things that have to do with parallel realities and opportunities, different dimensions. These things become the normal way that you perceive reality, overlapping with multiple realities, multiple opportunities and options, multiple pathways simultaneously, rather than the idea of a singular path that illuminates only what is germane for your physical personality. So in the non-physical realm, you begin to also combine with the idea of your identity other aspects of yourself on a greater level and tap into multiple parallel opportunities and choices and synchronicities that are representative of your greater being, your more expanded consciousness.
You mean like the oversoul?
Well, you don't necessarily have to go that far right away, but similar to that idea on a lower level.
Okay, but we're only, in terms of parallel realities, we're only ever ourselves, and we're just always making connections. Is that right? We're only sort of one soul.
Yes, you as a physical persona have a singular soul.
So I can never be any of these other parallel versions.
You aren't. They are themselves. You can only, in a sense, be them if when you say you or me, you are talking about the oversoul level.
Yes.
So if you're saying I, as the oversoul, am all of these different entities and individuals, then yes, that's more precise. But you as a single individual personality, no, that's an extension of an oversoul, and therefore it is a singular expression.
From the soul perspective, I've got one soul, and all those parallel versions have their own soul.
Correct.
Right. Okay, thank you for that. Right, I've got a question for you here. So I want you to imagine now that you're human and you're on Earth now.
I don't have to imagine it. Remember that in the classical way of looking at things, the channel is one of what you call my past selves.
That's true. I just mean kind of from where you are right now, as you as an individual. So if you were speaking to an extraterrestrial now the way we are to you,
yes,
from Earth, what question would you ask if you only had one question that you could ask?
How can I be more myself? That's why we've been delivering information to that end to all of you. How you can be more yourself, because when you are your true self, everything else takes care of itself automatically. Everything falls into place automatically. So I would ask the one thing, as we're sharing with you in terms of answers, the thing that would allow all things to function more automatically and fall into place more easily, to be yourself and allow for unity and harmony to exist on the planet.
And that's following the formula again then?
Yes, it is. That's why we've boiled it all down to that for you, so that it's simple and you don't have to overcomplicate it or overthink it. Just follow the instruction manual. The way we have distilled it down is designed to exactly accomplish the answer to that particular question.
Okay.
Who am I?
Exactly. Who am I? I'm asking that every day to myself.
But all you have to do is follow the formula to figure that out. Remember, the formula doesn't leave anything relevant out. It contains everything and the answer to every question that's relevant and important for you that you might ask in your life.
But if everything changes except the laws, then the formula never changes, does it?
No, because that is a description of the structure of existence that doesn't change. It's how you use it that changes. It's your relationship to it that changes. It's your experience of it that changes. Your perspective of it that changes. But the thing itself, the structure itself, is the structure of existence, and that doesn't change.
Okay. You mentioned that
it doesn't change. Perhaps this will clarify it for you. It doesn't change because in and of itself, it's timeless. It just is in the now, completely and utterly. It doesn't experience the idea of time. Time is within it. It's not subject to time. Time is subject to it. That's why it is what it is and never changes, because you need the experience of time in order to have the experience of change. And then it's beyond time.
Logical.
Yes.
So, you mentioned the Uber civilization around Bernard's star, that we would one day become first contactees for them. I just wondered what challenges and innovations they're going through right now, from where they are, from your perspective, that you can see.
Well, there are many different things going on in their civilization. One moment. Of course, one of the things that's most relevant is they are having discussions in many different circles about the possibility of life among the stars. It is something that many of them have been considering for a little while, and they have been using whatever simple technology they have to speculate, similarly to what Earth has been going through, as to whether or not there is life among the stars. So it's one of the things they are discussing.
Okay. And do they feel that it's possible? Do they feel that they're going to get there? Or do they have doubts the way we do?
Some of them have doubts about it, yes.
And they're not human, I take it?
They're humanoid, but they're not human.
Okay, so they've got some of our genetics.
Yes.
Okay. And what other genetics are they made of? Do they have?
There is no reference point I can give you for that exactly, other than the fact that they're not too dissimilar from you, and therefore they obviously share some genetics with you, but some of the other things that are combined in that are not exactly the same and are not familiar to you in any way I can describe.
And, in terms of synchronicity, the number 55 has followed me around since I was
all right.
50, every 7-8 times a day.
Yes.
And I used to think it was a bad thing, and then I realized it was actually guiding me in a good thing.
Well, that's the use of synchronistic numbers. Sometimes they'll act as road markers to let you know that at that moment you're in the proper state to be yourself and act from that state. It's like saying I'm seeing a road sign that tells me I'm on the right path and I'm in the correct vibration for myself at this particular moment. For you, the idea of 55 is like the number of double humanity.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Great. Well, thank you, Bashar. It's been a pleasure as always, and have a good day.
And you as well. It is our passion and our pleasure to interact with you. Good day.
Shiva.
Aveo.
Again, spiritually speaking, from being drawn to beauty the way a lot of us are.
Well, you are being drawn to the concept of balance. Some people will reflect it in certain ways, and they don't necessarily have to be physiologically beautiful to express the idea of some form of beauty. But the idea is that you're being drawn to the balance between the polarities. You're being drawn to the third point, the Trinity point, that allows you to experience within yourself the potential of the balance that you contain. Good day. Good day.
Good day, Bashar. It's so exciting to be here with you today.
As it is for us as well to be with you.
Thank you. There are a couple areas I'd like to explore with you. The first is the topic of the information you shared with us. I've been enjoying the information you've been sharing for a while. It's so clear and creative and
all right,
experiential. And I'm just curious how these materials are developed and what are the theories behind the event structure and the way information is shared with us.
Well, again, the idea is that these are not theories for us. These are simple observations of the nature and structure of existence, and we're simply passing them along to you in whatever form the translation needs to occur to make sense in your language and in your consciousness. So we're simply sharing what we observe in terms of how existence functions, how it works. That's why we're able to distill it down into the idea of the formula, following your passion to the best you can, no insistence or assumption on the outcome, staying in a positive state no matter what happens so you can derive the benefit from it. These are the ways these concepts translate in your language, in your reality, to take advantage of the nature and structure of existence that we're describing to you. Does this make sense?
It does. So basically, if a human wanted to do as an effective a job as you do with others, we would just try and tap into those understandings ourselves when sharing information with others.
Yes, and that's why we give you the formula, because it allows you to do that. Because in other words, as you act on your passion, what happens? You raise your vibration. As you raise your vibrational frequency of energy and expand your consciousness, what happens? You tap into higher frequency realms of information and inspiration and access the same kind of information. So that's also included in the structure. It's self-guiding, it's self-expanding. Just by doing it, just by following the instruction manual and following the formula, it not only allows you to experience your own personal life in a more accelerated and streamlined way, it actually gives you more ability to tap into other levels of information, knowledge, energy, so on and so forth, to be able to also then share similar perspectives with other people as well, because it makes you a more receptive antenna for those higher frequency bits of information in the same way that we tap into it.
Amazing.
Remember, you can't experience what you're not the vibration of first. This is just physics. What you put out is what you get back. So by following the formula, it raises your frequency and allows you to access more information on a broader spectrum.
Okay. And so, it's the other topic I wanted to explore with you, I wanted some guidance on. I've noticed a lot of changes in the world, like a lot of construction, a lot of things shifting.
Yes.
I've been a part of an institution for a long time that there's been a lot of friction there that I've experienced, but I also see an opportunity for helping to shift that structure from within. But the thing that I'm trying to understand and wrap my head around is when is it important to stand our ground? When is it important to resist? Is that ever necessary? When is it important to expose certain structures? Like right now, it seems like exposing certain things might be beneficial. But
it depends on what it is and how you go about it. If you think it's necessary and truly important, it's truly in alignment with your true self, your real self, that certain information be revealed in certain ways that you believe would be to everyone's benefit, that's fine. But you have to have a really strong sense of discernment to know whether that's really necessary or whether you simply need to not resist, but move on to something else that is more representative, or even create something else yourself that's more representative of the kind of environment that you prefer.
That's how would you suggest that someone develop discernment around that? Like, what are some good ways to really tap into that?
All right. Well, again, this requires a great degree of self-awareness and honesty within your own investigation of the reasons, your motivations for why you choose to behave or do what it is you choose to behave or do. So you have to really dig down deep and ask yourself at any moment when you think that some particular action might be required, why do I think that? Why do I feel that? What is my motivation for thinking I have to do it this way as opposed to another way? Am I truly in alignment with harmony in doing it the way I thought I needed to do it? Or am I simply allowing myself to believe that I have to control the situation? Is this coming from a fear-based belief? Is this coming from a love-based belief? What am I actually doing, and why am I choosing to do it this way, or even considering doing it this way? Is this the best way? Is this the path of least resistance? Is this truly me? Or is there something else I would rather be doing in a different way? That's why we say it's so important to just stay in the moment when these things come up, when these questions arise. Just stay in the moment and take the time to examine yourself with great honesty and great transparency about your motivations for why you think you need to do something in the way you think you need to do it, because sometimes it will reveal to you that there might be another way that is truly more you, and that the way you've been thinking of doing it is really just another expression of a fear-based belief because you think that something will go wrong if you don't do it this way or what have you. So it takes great honesty in your self-evaluation to know the difference in your discernment.
Okay, thank you, Bashar. That's very helpful.
All right.
Yeah, and a great gratitude to you and everyone that's a part of this transmission today and everyone who isn't. So blessings, and I thank you.
We thank you as well. Good day.
Good day, Bashar. It's been a pleasure knowing you. I'm Ryohei from Osaka, Japan. So, 2 months ago, I had a lucid dream about 2 UFOs, glowing purple light, hovering about 200 feet right above me, lying on my bed. My body was floating in midair, as if I was getting sucked into one of them while having a sleep paralysis. Recently, I haven't had any dreams about UFOs. So my question is, how can I utilize my Esasani contact crystal to increase the probability of dreaming about UFOs? Love you, Bashar. Sayonara.
When you go to sleep, as you're falling off to sleep, ask for more conscious, lucid awareness of your interactions with other beings. It will eventually be given to you. You will eventually take it. The idea is to not be afraid to have that awareness, not be afraid to have those experiences, and ask for those experiences on your own terms in ways that will work for you. You are entitled to do this. You're entitled to be an equal participant consciously in any interactions with extraterrestrial beings, no matter what their particular take may be. So the more you ask for awareness and the less you are afraid of having that awareness of what's going on those other levels, the more you will have conscious participation in what's happening.
Hi, Bashar.
Anna, you good day.
Good day. I have a question on our consensus agreements here in this reality. And as we evolve as a species, individually and collectively, and we invite our future selves in to come in to integrate within this original consensus agreement, does that change or expand our agreements collectively and individually? And if so, how does that work? And
all right,
as far as our next step.
All right, well, the short answer is yes. But the idea is to remember that you're creating yourself to shift to different realities, and different realities, different parallel versions of Earth that you're shifting through have their own completely different consensus. So you're not changing the consensus of one world, you're simply shifting to another world that has a completely different collective consensus.
So once, as this evolution continues with us, how do you incorporate that in your thinking model? And, like what's really the highest?
How it's incorporated is by the synchronicity that shows you now what is more and more possible for you in that new reality that has a different consensus. In other words, it will become more apparent and more obvious through synchronicity that different things are now available to you than used to be available to you to act on, that is more in alignment with who you are.
Yes, I've experienced that. So I was just wondering how that just continues to evolve us. Is that correct?
Yes. As you shift and go through different versions of Earth with different consensus realities, it becomes more and more apparent what it is that aligns with you as an individual and gives you more opportunities to express your individuality within the context of the new consensus.
So that's already open to and available to us. It's just a matter of our acting on our excitement and moving forward in that direction.
Just a matter of following the formula. As we constantly are reminding all of you, the formula is designed to let you know that nothing is left out that's relevant for you to experience in your path in life. So yes, of course it's available to you, because why would that ability be left out of the formula?
clarification is very important for me. Thank you so much on that. I really appreciate that clarification.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Yesterday, there was an agreement that came in from the Eastern Bloc, and I know you'd spoken about look to the Eastern Bloc for economic changes, and there was a peace agreement that had been made. Is this what we're looking for in that direction?
It's a piece. It's not the only thing, but it's a piece. It's a start.
So all the energy that was going toward that, this worked out to an agreement so far.
Again, remember, nothing changed in the original reality. You shifted to a reality in which that already existed.
Okay, thank you. Got it. Got it.
Yes?
I'm looking at the 15 sacred circuits that you had presented some time ago, and
Yes.
working with those as alive beings. Is that what I was understanding?
Everything is an aspect of consciousness.
Yes. Yes.
So in a sense, they're alive.
And they're part of our fundamental nature here in this reality. Is that correct?
Well, they're representative of certain aspects of the underlying template of physical reality, but they're also specifically representative of certain circuitry arrangements in your brain and in your neurological network. That's why we have shared them with you as a kind of meditative tool to allow you in each representation of each circuit to rewire your brains that make you a better receiver, a better antenna for higher frequency information and energy.
And that connects to our geometry here in this reality to above and beyond.
Well, yes, of course. It would make no sense for us to deliver information that didn't connect to the geometry of your particular reality experience.
I know some of them look very familiar, but some of them don't.
Yes. Well, these kinds of things have been used throughout the ages when people get to a certain point in their evolution and start to realize that there are representative symbols of these underlying energy forms. Then, of course, many of them may be familiar to you because they've existed before in different civilizations on your planet.
Now, when you first presented them, I did the exercises, and I can't say that I paid attention to them forever. You know, I think I worked with it a couple of months. And
that's all right. It's up to you.
Yes. And then I'm picking them back up now. And is there a special way to use them? Just have a focus?
Yes. On them? There is a special way to use them. Your way. Okay. Let your imagination be your guide as to how to put them together, either using them individually or putting them together collectively in some kind of pattern that makes sense to you. Feel your way through it and see what stands out. That's the best advice I can give you. Feel what feels correct to you. Putting them together, rearranging them, you'll find the pattern that makes sense for you. So the best way is your way.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the connection today and the interaction.
As do we. We thank you. Good day.
Good day.